much, Justin. I'm going to confuse everyone by having a very British accent for someone from Texas. But thank you all very much for coming today. It's a great partnership with Ideal. We've had a number of super successful projects, this being one, and hopefully many more to come. This, as Justin said, this is very much a kind of sharing of knowledge, experience. It's not a sales pitch. But that said, I've been asked to sort of set the scene a little bit with a few slides on Cisco's strategy and the market and some of the projects that we've worked on, including this one, to give you a little bit of a taster as to how we see hybrid work, smart buildings, sustainability all kind of converging together. So as it says, I'm running our actually hybrid work, smart and sustainable environments now in EMEA. Sort of moved outside of the UK to Texas and running EMEA from Texas, but anyway, there we go. It's all possible with hybrid work, right? And hybrid, smart and sustainable, essentially we see as three undeniable and investable trends in their own right, and very much been delivered here at 22 Bishopsgate. So what does it mean? Within this building there's a converged network, Cisco converged network, where we have integrated all of the operational technology onto that network. So we've integrated the building management system, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, access control, smart blinds. Now, if you look in these panes of glass, it's actually, I think, triple glazing. And within every single one of these windows, there is a smart blind. And that blind is driven by solar actuators on the facades of the building. Apparently, there's only 12 different windows or sizes of window within this building, even though there are 9,000 windows. So they managed to create that sort of simplicity of design, bring in these blinds, and when the sun gets too hot and creates a greenhouse effect, the blinds come down. Now, I don't think there's any danger of that happening today, but it does have a really meaningful impact. We've seen from floors where they override the blinds, this glass is much clearer than all of the buildings you can see around. It's one of the, I think, clearest glass that you can get. Creates much more natural light, nicer environment, but essentially that adds to the greenhouse effect. So you need the blinds. And there's one floor where they override the blinds, and the load on the HVAC is actually 50% higher than it is on the floors all the other floors where they allowed the automation to happen. So just to give you an example there of smart really underpinning sustainability. And this building was all about customer experience-led design, a great collaboration. I would say this sector is the ultimate team sport, and there are loads of different organisations and people with great experience across all the different specialisations here today, and kind of makes it fun working together. And we've had great success at Cisco driving business outcomes with this strategy ourselves. So in 2019, we delivered our Singapore office. We looked at the data from how the building was being used historically. It's exactly the same floor plate that we were looking to retain. And we actually realized that we could shrink the floor plate by 40%. Using the data around occupancy, we could shift the sizes of meeting rooms so that we weren't camping out in large meeting rooms with just two people in them, and make sure that we're using the space as efficiently as possible. We actually saved $2.5 million in rent by compressing that footprint. We actually had an increased badge-in rate of 1.5 times, so a more engaged workforce turning up and coming back to the office. Video everywhere. And yeah, it's a really, really great experience. So that, a very good project in its own right, but very much focused on hybrid work. Where we went next was New York and our Pen 1 template. So that's 100% PoE. What do we mean by that? Power over Ethernet. I'm sure many of you know about that. Back in the day of the star phone, before everyone sort of shifted to WebEx and Zoom and all the rest of it, those phones were powered by the same cable that delivers the voice and data connection, right? And so it's been around a while, but when it started, only 15 watts per port. Now we're up to 90 watts, and at the same time, lighting has gone from a 100-watt incandescent light bulb to a 10-watt LED, delivering the same amount of lumens, right? So that shift in terms of more efficient, but also the ability to drive greater power through the network has really made a significant impact. And this was these are some images of the implementation. No need for steel conduit, just pulling through Ethernet cables. The entire floor plate is DC powered, desks, sensors, blinds, screens, got LG 4K screens that are under 90 watts now. So you can really power everything. And significant impact by bringing sensors on, so we can now see everything that's going on, optimize and automate the footprint. So it's not just about PoE being more efficient, avoiding the conversion loss between AC and DC, which is up to 20% of energy just wasted. It's also about automating using the sensors. So those sensors have all been pulled in, and then platforms like Cisco Smart Workspaces can then render that data, up to 5,000 data points being collected every second from those sensors across that floor plate, and then render that data so you can see which rooms are free, where there's a buzzy environment if you want to come back in and see a lot of people. If you want to do head down work, you can see where it's quieter and you can have a bit more of a peaceful environment for concentration. You can sort of book those rooms by just touching on the WebEx Board Pro and book those rooms there and then, so that you can then walk over and find that room and use it for the period that you need it. And this has driven very significant cost savings from an energy consumption perspective. So the blue bars are where we have time periods before the refurbishment, green bars post refurbishment. Initially, we saw 20% cost savings, and that was essentially through going from AC to DC PoE. And then we optimized that further with automation and got down to a 47% reduction. So a lot of people have been really excited about Pen 1. We've had 450 plus visits now, and the building's the office has only been open for 150 plus days. So 150, 160 days now. 450 customers have gone through it. We've seen significant interest in it. It's had a lot of press attention, and we obviously sort of tried to push the boat out there. But it's a great template going forward. We're rolling out in Atlanta and then Paris next year in a period building off the Champs-Elysees. So very much, if you can retrofit smart PoE into a chateau-style building off the Champs-Elysees, you can do it anywhere. And this design guide with both Cisco and non-Cisco technology is available for everyone. So we can provide that if you're interested. But smart isn't just about sustainable, it's about what's operationally efficient, it's about quality of workplace experience, and it's about enabling hybrid. And whilst today isn't about hybrid, and I'm not going to talk about it, it is really the third leg of the stool. And if you address all these things together, you can create substantial efficiencies, as I've said. And we seem to be doing quite well ourselves internally. Obviously, we've had the benefit of working in a hybrid fashion for over 12 years now. We acquired WebEx in 2007 for its collaboration and video conferencing software. It's obviously come a long way. It's become much more mainstream. But there are lots of benefits that and experience that we've learned along the way. So that's really all I need to say, set the scene, hopefully, and hand over to I think it's back to you, Justin.